Hello and welcome to Module 5 of the English Speaking and Writing course. Today we'll talk about sentence structure. Sentence. A sentence is a set of words that is complete in itself, typically containing a subject and predicate, conveying a statement, question, exclamation, or command, and consisting of a main clause and sometimes one or more subordinate clauses. A sentence is made up of different words to complete a purpose. There are several purposes. One might be to make a statement, or another might be to ask a question. A sentence is a set of words standing on their own as a unit of sense. Its conclusion is marked by a full stop, a question mark, or an exclamation mark. Sentences begin with a capital letter and include a verb. There is no minimum number of words a sentence must contain in order to be a sentence. The only thing is that it must contain a main verb. Let us talk about the main parts of a sentence. We have morpheme, word, phrase, clauses, subject, and predicate. Morpheme. A morpheme is the lowest unit of language that can convey meaning. You cannot break a morpheme down into anything smaller that has meaning. Many simple words are morphemes. For example, book, cry, run. Some words consist of two or more morphemes, like kindness and children. Here we have kind plus ness, child plus ren. Ness and ren all convey some meaning, even though none of them is a word in its own right. If we try to break them down any further, we just end up with graphemes or phonemes. Now, what are graphemes? A grapheme is the smallest functional unit of a writing system. For example, we have the letter K that sounds K, as in kettle. The EA, the digraph EA that sounds E, as in head, death, breakfast. It also sounds E, as in seat, meat, team. The digraph OU is a grapheme. It sounds O, as in shoulder. It also sounds ow, as in house. Phoneme. A phoneme is a distinctive speech sound. In English, there are 44 phonemes or 44 speech sounds. These are divided into two. 20 are vowels, 24 are consonants. Examples: the sound K, as in kettle, the sound I, as in ink, and the sound as in sing, S-I-N-G, sing. Look at this word here. We have ringing, ringing. If you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, there are 7 letters here. But this word only has 5 sounds, or 5 phonemes, 5 distinctive speech sounds. R, I, I, and These are the 5 phonemes here. So a phoneme is a distinctive speech sound. Let us go to word. What is a word? A word is the smallest meaningful bit of sense in a sentence. Each word has a different job to do. Words are put together to form a phrase. These are examples of words. We have cat, you, sleep, read, quickly, on, and. Don't forget, each word has a different job to do. It might be an action, it might be to join phrases or clauses together as a conjunction. All of them, each word has a different job to do. It might even be a naming word to name an object or to name something. A word is the smallest meaningful bit of sense in a sentence. That is a word. What about phrase? A phrase is a group of words or a single word that forms a meaningful unit within a sentence. Example, a pile of books. After the match. This is a group of words, or it can even be a single word that forms a meaningful unit within a sentence. So it forms a meaningful unit within a sentence, but on its own, it doesn't make sense. Imagine being in a room and someone comes in and says, a pile of books. You'll be waiting, okay? What happened to a pile of books? Or someone says, after the match. You'll be wondering, what happened after the match? Or what will happen after the match? So these are phrases. We have different types of phrases. I'll be teaching that in another module, both phrases and clauses. Clause. A clause is a larger word group that includes a little more information than a phrase. It consists of at least two phrases, a noun phrase, which is known as a subject, and a verb. For example, the little boy cried. This is a clause. Another, the mighty lion roared. This is another clause. If you start a clause with a capital letter and end it with a full stop, you'll have a sentence. A sentence may consist of two or more clauses. Here is an example. She left because it was late and she was tired. She left because it was late and she was tired. In this sentence, there are three clauses. She left, that is one. Because it was late, that is two. And she was tired, that is three. A clause is a group of related words containing a subject and a verb. They make sense. If you start it with a capital letter and you end it with a full stop, what you're going to get there is a sentence. Okay, let us go to the next one, which is subject. The subject of a sentence is the person, place, thing, or idea that is doing or being something. It can be a word, it can be more than a word, or it can even be an entire clause. For example, John. John is a subject. So if I go with a sentence, John has gone home. John is the one or the thing or the person that is doing something. So John is a subject. And the next, John and his cat. This is also a subject. Let us talk about the predicate and see how we are going to connect it with the subject. Predicate. A predicate is the completer of a sentence. It contains the verb and tells something about the subject. Example, melted. Here is a sentence. The ice melted. The ice is the subject. Melted is the predicate, is the completer of the sentence. We have another one, ate all the food. The full sentence, John and his cat ate all the food. John and his cat that we have talked about earlier is the subject, while ate all the food is the predicate or the completer of the sentence. John and his cat ate all the food. In this module, we have talked about parts of a sentence. We've talked about morpheme, word, phrase, clauses, subject, predicate. Let us go over it briefly. A morpheme is the lowest unit of language that can convey meaning. Grapheme. A grapheme is the smallest functional unit of a writing system. Phoneme. A phoneme is a distinctive speech sound. Word. A word is the smallest meaningful bit of sense in a sentence. Phrase. A phrase is a group of words or a single word that forms a meaningful unit within a sentence. Clause. A clause is a larger word group that includes a little more information than a phrase. Don't forget, if you start a clause with a capital letter and end it with a full stop, you'll have a sentence. Subject. The subject of a sentence is the person, place, thing, or idea that is doing or being something. Predicate. A predicate is the completer of a sentence. It contains the verb and tells something about the subject. Now, here at clause, if you start a clause with a capital letter and end it with a full stop, you'll have a sentence. That doesn't mean that you can start every clause with a capital letter and end it with a full stop. In the example that I gave earlier, the one she left because it was late and she was tired, I say that we have three clauses there. She left. One, because it was late. Two, and she was tired. Now, if you say and she was tired, if you start the A there as a capital letter and you put a full stop at the tired, the clause there might really not make sense. And she was tired. Who was tired? Who are we talking about here? So it's not every clause that you start with a capital letter and end with a full stop to make a sentence. But just know that if it can make sense, if you start it with a capital letter and end it with a full stop, then you get a complete sentence. Thank you very much for being part of this module. I'll see you in the next module.